Okay, so we're going to talk about a topic that is pretty unpopular in some of these circles online in terms of the picking up women game, pickup artist stuff, but it's been long enough where we haven't talked about this. So I think it's important to go into this kind of line of thought, and we're going to go over two different posts that I made where we talk about these sorts of things of whether game is actually a thing, what does it mean, et cetera, et cetera. So let's dive right in. You know that saying you want to increase your looks, money, and status in order to get girls? What they don't tell you is that it's segmented, meaning either she wants you for your looks, aka primal sexual value, and doesn't care as much about money, or she wants you for your money and doesn't care as much about your looks. And the kicker is either way you slice this, if she's dating you for your looks or dating you for your money, these individually increase her status. But you have to have at least one of them for her to experience a status increase. Say she wants you for your looks, then and she's in that kind of stage of her life, then money and your stability and stuff of that nature is only a bonus to her. It's not the primary driving factor. And this is why I'm so against guys waiting for sex or leading with expensive dinner dates. It's because besides the fact that it's just a waste of time and dumb when other girls don't care about those silly little bird dances, it's also playing right into the girl's hand who want a status increase from your money and not for your looks. You're essentially speaking the wrong language when you're doing those things because the girls that respond to that are most likely to not be necessarily having the most intentions in the dating game. They may be making you, trying to make you pay for past guys in their life and stuff of that nature. So how do you really know if she likes you for your looks? And looks is just another way of like primal sexual value. It's primitive. It's like, 100,000 years ago, like monkey ooga booga. Like, how do you know she likes you for that? And she comes straight over and has sex with you relatively fast. And that means different things for different people. For me, it's really a first meeting kind of thing. I'm at that point in my frame and my kind of process where it basically has to happen, or at least second, third base on the first time, and then it basically has to happen on the second time for it to be a thing. Otherwise, you're just basically setting yourself up to be exploited, and you're just really submitting to the woman's frame if you're not setting boundaries for yourself and standards for yourself and what you're willing to accept. Because the bottom line is you're irresistible to her, and there are other ways to know you're irresistible, but these are the kind of litmus tests that I look at. She comes straight over and she has sex relatively fast. She's interested. She's pursuing. She makes things simple. She's not easy. She makes them simple because she's confident in the value she brings to the table. And so she's confident that she'll be able to say, keep me interested when we go down that line of thinking. And now one of my really good followers here, he says, true, money part is easy. Of course, you just, that's the easy game. But the game guys would still argue with the reliance on looks. They basically say, you're relying too much on looks and there's still this other aspect. But most won't admit that it's the driving factor for the alpha smashes side. Yes, you can charm her way in some cases, still alpha smashes, but for the success effort metric, looks are by far the biggest factor. They are, and this goes into the second post we spoke about, which is right over here. My response to his response here. Game is an extension of your sex appeal and only works when your first impression and product packaging is good. What matters most is not making anti-seductive moves. Can't stress this enough, like smothering her, confessing your feelings, or asking her to be your girlfriend, or really anything signaling to the girl that you have no experience, that she's your best or even worst only option, and you have no idea what you're doing. Those are table stakes things that turn women off. These are things you have to know, essentially. And if you don't know them, they turn women off. And so once baseline social competency and not being weird is accomplished, the incremental benefits of running a game are minimal. A lot of it is pulling back and knowing when to let her chase, making her go on this like kind of emotional roller coaster, like, oh, does he like me? That's about the most beneficial retention game you can run. And yes, confidence and charisma are good, but only stacked on top of a solid foundation. There's no increasing interest by bird dancing. There's only turning existing interest off. Desires are innate. And here's kind of a thought experiment here. So say a new product is presented to you. You're either in the market or not, and make a decision on whether you want to move forward with purchasing it. You wanting the product has little to do with the presentation and more to do with the fact that you see and understand the nature of the thing and want that. It's almost a split second decision. If you weren't open to the idea, experiencing a need, don't have a problem or see a benefit with what a salesperson is selling, you aren't in the market, then it doesn't matter what tactics he uses to sell it, aka game. It won't work. And you weren't necessarily aware that thing existed before you were presented it. But the second you became aware, it was essentially a gut feeling where you know whether or not you want it or at least are in the market for it. So, in a way, if a salesperson is assumptive and a bit persistent without being anti seductive, then this can work. But again, only stacked on top of pre existing desire. The desire to want the thing already exists inside of you. It wasn't manifest from nothing. You can have the best sales department in the world, but if you're selling dog shit, it doesn't matter. And so that's the bottom line with game, frame, however you want to call it. I'm in the business of not making anti-seductive moves. And basically, the idea is let the market hang themselves. Other guys hang themselves. They do too much. They try too hard. They do all these anti-seductive things. They're insecure. They're asking her, do you like me? Just a million other things. Even like this. Reminds me of this post. And a good amount of these are good points. Like, don't send this stuff. Girls are always uglier in person or boys are hotter. But the one thing here I disagree with is once you get some banter rolling, get her number. I say banter, and she even says banter twice here. I say banter only happens in real life. If she isn't pre-sold in your profile, ideally reaching out first, and no manipulation of pixels on a screen is going to be worth it or change anything. If you have to do a bird dance for her to notice you, then what do you think is going to happen when an even bigger simp does a more impressive dance? And that's the bottom line. If it takes this supposed game for the relationship to work out, whether that's a one night stand or a long term relationship, anything in between, those benefits, if that's what it took, I would just say she wasn't into you to begin with, if that's what it takes. But the reality is, if it's going to work out, you didn't need to do that. That's the bottom line. These things only happen in real life. Women have to decide that you are the guy for them. Even here, have a guy that I was messaging, and I've been kind of talking about logistics only messaging. He says, you say logistics only. I'm trying it out now, doing it completely on my own terms. 3 lays past 10 days. Do you just not contact them after sleeping? It was a longer message, but this is the main part. And like I say here, logistics only messaging on your own terms is greater than anything, because why? You only win when you play the numbers game. Taking women seriously is not a worthwhile venture. If it's fancy banter over manipulation of pixels on your phone, then it's not applicable to your other interactions. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. So the more cloudy you make your brain with all of these tactics, then okay, I'll give it to you. Maybe they have a 3%, 5%, even what if they have a 10% advantage? But is that really worth it, or is the net benefit actually negative because your brain is thinking, oh, I need to do all these tactics instead of focusing on yourself and being in the right place at the right time and running numbers game and making offers and getting no's, but you know that no's get you closer to the yeses. Kind of like if you're knocking on doors, doing door-to-door sales, or if you're putting advertisements out. If you have a couple percent conversion rate on a landing page or on a website or on your dating app profile, that's a pretty good return. So it's just about having thick skin, knowing the game you're playing, and that's basically all there is to it. So if you like this video, leave a like, and all the links to work with me in the description. I know that's one-on-one if you just want my kind of simple logistics only messaging dating app scripts and some profile strategies. All the links to those are in the description. If you want to book a call, those are in the description too. And I'll see you next video.